Brown Scoop in the building, and we always like to make sure that we talk about our sports and get that out the way. We also are cultured. And on the phone right now, we have Anthony Monaghan, a producer. First of all, Anthony, thank you for joining Brown and Scoop.
Hey, thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, sir. And your Rednecks and Culchies
Rednecks and Culchies, yeah.
is shows apathy towards Americans' working class. In the society that we live in, and the economic status that we live in, post-recession, everybody's broke. But I find that the working class is the heartbeat of the United States that keeps everything going. So I'm a little curious to learn more about your documentary. Can you, in a sentence or two, tell me more about it?
It's mostly about blue-collar workers in America here and about their addictions and the recession and the economy, how it's affecting them. That's basically it.
In Rednecks and Culchies, you own a thriving construction company, and you give an intimate glimpse, of the other side of St. Louis through the lives of co-workers and stories that deeply connects them to their missions to end poverty by providing opportunity. So obviously you got it firsthand. What prompted you to actually put something like this together?
Well, I felt it was a story that had to be told, and I kept talking about it for a few years, and I went around to a couple of people who make like little documentaries in St. Louis and some film schools, and I told them the idea and went to a few of these meetings, all the people gather around about talking about movies. So I went in and done all that circuit, and they all listened to me, and most of them entertained me for a while, and then actually it was going nowhere, so I decided to go ahead and do it myself and get a few guys and put it together, and everyone was laughing about me at the start, said I couldn't do it, and I was laughing in America here, and I was a bit of a joke in the west of Ireland, so I didn't really care about that, because I knew it was a good story, and I felt it was a story that had to be told about the people in the blue-collar working scene that I experienced in St. Louis here, and mostly probably due to the economy collapsing like 7 or 8 years ago, and people give up hope, So that's one part. I decided to tell the story because nobody else going to do it, and now it's a big success. I've been in a lot.
Sorry, continue.
No. I just a lot of people now are grabbing their attention, from New York to LA and Ireland, all over the world. Actually, been in the Huffington Post and a few other slants, and been in a lot of press in Ireland and on a few TV shows. So it's getting a lot of attention, and it's growing really big. So I'm glad that I've done it now. It was a lot of work, and it affected. It's affecting my business at the moment, and I knew this would be the backfall because I'm talking about stuff that nobody else talks about in America. I want to talk about because everything is like, if you don't have instant gratification here, and people are living through their computer on their cell phones, and they don't even acknowledge sometimes where they are, or they don't understand that we're dealing in the same world. We all got to live on the same planet, so we all try to be human. But sometimes a lot of people nowadays seem to forget about that. Like, they all talk about the success stories, but they never look back and see, does this guy need a hand, or, little things like that. You know what I mean? So I made a story because nobody else probably would do it, because they thought it was too hard of a story to put out there, I think, really. Most people, even when I had it made and I tried to get into cinemas here and all that stuff, nobody would help me. So eventually, a guy in St. Louis here, he owned a High Point Theatre, he let us show it, and as soon as I put the trailer on our Facebook, all of a sudden we got like 3 million hits on our trailer, so that was good on our Facebook at the start, so we knew that it'd be a success.
Brian,
so there on in.
Gentlemen first, of course. Go ahead.
Sorry?
No, you were still talking. I cut you off. I was.
No harm. I was just waiting for you to give me, So I think it was a story that had to be told, and I was the only guy that could tell it. I think I was a good guy to tell it. I've been coming from the west of Ireland from a real poor background, and I grew up with 11. I'm one of 11 kids. So I didn't have much growing up. So I decided to. I think I was the right man for the job.
Brian,
and I got two guys. Sorry.
No, gentlemen first. Gentlemen first.
Hello?
No, I was saying gentlemen first. There was a pause, so I thought you had finished talking. I don't interrupt the guest.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got two guys to help me. One of them he dances in the St. Louis Ballet. His name is Elliot Gillette, and I got another guy called Chris Gibbs. So a strange combination, three guys together. Here's a guy come from the west of Ireland. I used to be a boxer. I came out to box to the U.S. So we didn't have, on the outside, didn't look like we had much in common, but when we got talking, we had really the same passions, and they worked with me. Chris lived with me for 7 months, Chris Gibbs, the camera guy, and because I need them there all the time to see the story in the mornings, and I need them in the evenings to capture, some of the stuff. So there on in it was, that was part of us building it up, but we bought all the equipment and got all the stuff together, and now it's, it's a tremendous story. I think that it's a sad story too, because it's about American people and the way they live. Life is hard for a lot of American people. Not even to say it's about the roast, but I know people in America who can barely, they can barely fend for themselves. You know what I mean? They can barely put food on the table, and they got 3 or 4 kids. It's not about. Times in America are hard for a lot of people. They got kids and mortgages and car payments, and they don't know where they're coming from.
Surely.
The other aspect.
Surely. No, that makes logical sense. And you're the man, you're the wizard. You segued into something I was going to ask you. Your perspective of the city of St. Louis actually comes from a unique angle that's rarely seen. You come from Irish descent. By the way, you have a wonderful Gaelic accent, I must add. But
thank you.
You're welcome. But you connect the experiences of your own life as an immigrant, and I think that's very significant. So I'm curious to know more about your upbringing in Ireland. Can you give me more background into that?
Yeah, well, I grew up in a little rural village in a place called Balmullet, County Mayo. It's a real small town in the west of Ireland. Beautiful place to grow up. The scenery is magnificent. It's like I've been all over the world. I think it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been, or is. But I mean, growing up there, there's not much opportunity for you. So I decided, but I was always a traveler in my mind anyway. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I always wanted to get out of there. Even if I had a lot of opportunity, I would have left Ireland anyway. But a lot of people are the opposite of me. They love Ireland. They wouldn't stay. But I wanted to see the rest of the world. So I grew up there. I was 15, and then I went to England. And then I went to England. I worked on, I worked as a migrant, like I'm picking potatoes. You know what I mean? The only job we could find. And I wasn't the only kid leaving the west of Ireland that time. We were all leaving. But one thing we did leave with is we all had compassion, and we all had heart, and we all sort of stuck together, and we were all in the same fight, and we acknowledged that, and we were always like, we might have our ups and downs, but we had always family and like a community, which we don't really have much in Ireland anymore. Ireland is a lot like here at the moment. People are just living this instant gratification. If they don't live out of a computer or a cell phone, kids have cell phones and they shouldn't have them, like in the country, and they're living through the media, they're living through TV, and it's all this crap that's on there. They don't even see the big picture, and so.
Well, clearly
Ireland and here is a lot like each other now. At the moment, if they're not told what to do or how to do it, they seem to be lost, And for me, like, common sense prevails. I got 3 daughters, like Tony, Ursula, and Kira, and I always tell them about common sense, And even, like, sometimes here, like last week I was down at a coffee shop. It's nothing to do with the documentary anyway, but I'll just tell you. I was at a coffee shop last week, me and my friend Bill Armstrong, and there was a car crash out in the front of the coffee shop, and it's beside Washington University on the corner. So there's a load of people in the coffee shop. It's about 4:00 in the afternoon. I ring up Bill for a cup of coffee, and he says, "I'll meet you there." So I went down there. Anyway, when I was there was a car crash outside on the street, and there was a girl, and she had 4 kids with her, and she was 21, and she was picking up her dad from the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And our grandfather, he was about 70 years old, and she had one little baby who was like 2 years old. She was only about 21 herself, and I didn't know the backstory, and I was waiting like for this coffee shop was full with black people and white people, all professionals, all scholars. I'd say most of them, 99% of Siwash U, and they all seen the accident there. And not one of them would go to help the lady, and I was holding back because I seen it, and so did 20 more people in the store in the coffee shop see it, but not one of them came out to help the young girl anyway, and our granddad. She was actually picking him up from the hospital. This young 21-year-old, and then I got up to her. He was actually came out of the hospital and they were hit with a car out to the coffee shop. So here we are in the store, in the middle of the store, in the coffee shop. Now one person, she's crying on the street. She's got a 2-year-old in her hand. Now one person goes out to help her. So eventually I go out. I didn't want to be the hero. I just said, I can't believe this to my friend Bill. I said, there's nobody going to help this girl. So I went out anyways and brought her in and helped with the kids. And our granddad was with her. He was actually going out to the hospital too. It was an unfortunate situation. Sure. Actually got into a car accident. But here's everybody in the coffee shop, and no one acknowledges it. And I couldn't understand, like, why don't somebody go and help this girl? She's crying, and all I, so I go out and I bring her in anyways, and we get her coffee, and we put her sitting down, wait for her family to come. And our grandfather just got out of the hospital, and she were her siblings actually. She was only 21, and when I found out that she was actually pregnant herself too, when we got talking to her, she was 4 months pregnant too. But here's everybody in the coffee shop. Nobody wants to go out and help her. No one wants to talk to her. And it's like, I can't believe it. I said to Bill, look, no one's going to go. So we went out and we bought her in, and Bill gave her money for the kids to buy pizza while her family was coming. And we sort of comforted her grandfather. He was an older guy. We got him coffee and told him to sit down. He had whiplash. But there was no one of them really badly hurted. It looked physically anyways. But here's everybody in the coffee shop, and nobody goes out to help this girl.
Right.
So I find it like we've lost ourselves, you know what I mean? And these are people who's well-educated, they're trying to save the world, they're looking at a computer, looking at a laptop, and I say to myself, this is the world that we seem to be living in. It's a little bit like that in the west of Ireland too at the moment. It's everyone is like living through a fantasy or a reality. Like we've lost our ways a lot of the time. So I made this story, Rednecks and Culchies, about bringing empathy back into these guys and show how they live and show how they are a part of our culture. The blue-collar workers built America. They were the backbone of America, the blue-collar workers. So I knew the story was a really good story to tell, and I'm glad I'm the guy that done it now.
Coming from a blue-collar background myself, I can definitely appreciate your story coming from Ireland and being in St. Louis. We got to let you go in a minute.
Where can we see it? Is it on Netflix?
Can we Netflix and chill to it?
You can. I've got a blog, Monaghan Productions. You can see it on Amazon. You can see it on a lot of places I carry it at the moment. So if you go to Monaghan Productions LLC, it should bring it up.
We will be surely to check that out, Mr. Monaghan. Thank you so much for joining Brown and Scoop today.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks
for talking to me.
Of course. Talk to you soon.